the foundation of my nutrition is managing calories. And if you want to look better than you currently do right now, that has to be what you do. I don't care if you do it via tracking, which you should. I don't care if you do it inside of a structured program, which would help. Okay. I don't care if, you do it your own way. You have to manage calories. All diets work. They work because ultimately they manipulate, I don't want to say restrict, but they manipulate calories to put you in a deficit in order to get you the results that you want. You must consume less calories. My name is Brian Panuzzo. I am a former bond trader turned executive health and performance coach. I know exactly why your health keeps losing to your calendar, and I help you build a system that fixes it for good. I know your world as a financial professional from the inside because I lived it for 20 years. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Brian, and this is the Success Lift Podcast. And in today's episode, I am going to tell you exactly what I eat on a regular basis and a not so regular basis in order to see my abs, be 48, and look and feel the best I've ever felt in my adult life. In addition to being able to walk into rooms and take my shirt off, specifically on a day like today, Memorial Day. If you're listening to this on Memorial Day, shout out to you for being one of the many people, not few, many people who listen and consume the podcast. Maybe you watch it on YouTube on the day that it drops on Monday mornings. So I appreciate you. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day weekend to those of you out there. For everyone who's down at the Jersey Shore working on their fist pump, I am jealous that I'm not there with you. But if you're somewhere else on a beach, at a pool, at a barbecue, hanging out, relaxing, or maybe you did that previously because you're now into the week and you're listening to this later on, the summer is here. It is the beginning of the summer. And while the summer really doesn't pick up for most of us until around July 4th, because a lot of us, our kids, are still in school for much of the month of June, depending on where you live. Some of your kids are done. My kids are finishing next week. Our summer starts a little early here. I know that is the same for like the southeast part of the country, but like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island, the Northeast tends to be in school for a few extra weeks into June. And so a lot of times the summer for people who actually do appreciate the summer and don't have the summer all year long like I do in Southern California, it really doesn't start for a few weeks. And so I want to share some of the ideas, some of the things that I do tactically. A lot of times, the performance information, the mindset coaching, the inspirational messages that I hope I deliver for you as part of this podcast on a weekly basis is helpful. But oftentimes people want to know what to do right now. And I hope that I also do a good job of distilling what is a little airy-fairy up there, up in the clouds, theoretical down into practical, because I'm a very practical person at heart. I want to know what to do. Tell me what to do. And I will go do that relentlessly and come back for more. And the people who do that inside my program do really well, because that's the cycle that we build. We show you exactly what to do. And so recently, a couple of months ago, I put together a resource for my clients, and I simply called it What Brian Eats, because I didn't know what else to call it. And it seemed pretty logical that I call this resource What Brian Eats. And so if you stick around to the end, I'm actually going to tell you how you can get this resource from me, but you gotta listen to the end. And this will lay out for you exactly what I do. This will lay out for you and summarize this entire podcast for you. More importantly, allow you to come back to it and give you a document in order to utilize on your own and implement. And I'm not saying that everything that I do you should do, but a lot of the things that I do are tactical and practical ways to implement the how. And that's one of the things that I do know our program, my coaching, our team does for clients. We are experts in the how because we have lived your life. We know what you go through on a daily basis. At not one moment in time during this podcast or any other in the past will I ever suggest to you to bring a Tupperware container of grilled chicken and broccoli to your client dinner in a restaurant and just ask them to heat it up in the microwave and tell you to stick to your plan. Stick to your meal plan. Tell me what to eat, Brian, as people will say all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Tell you what to eat? I don't know where you're going to be on Tuesday. What do you mean, tell you what to eat? I'll give you the principles of how I do it and how I think about it. And this is about as close to telling you what to eat as I get. Because programs that are like that fall on their face when your bubble pops, when your environment changes, which is like tomorrow for most of you. And if it's not tomorrow, it might have been already today, or it's going to be 48 hours from now. So we have to develop standards and principles that drive an operating system for ourselves that then ultimately relate to actions that we take. And that's when you start to figure it out on the fly. So you can take me and put me into unfamiliar environments, which more on this next week and beyond. I will be in very unfamiliar environments for most of the month of June and July, and I won't skip a beat. Am I worried about it? Do I prefer to be home? Yeah. But will I be just fine in unfamiliar environments? I always am. More on that coming soon. But for today, let's talk about what do I eat? All right. And so let's go to most days, because before I go into the nitty gritty, let's talk principles. All right. I, number one, track my calories on a daily basis. I enter the food that I eat, that I put in my mouth, the food and the drinks that are caloric beverages. So think alcohol. I don't put water or diet soda or whatever into the, I don't track 0 calorie stuff. Quite frankly, I don't track ketchup. I don't track things that have 5 calories, 10 calories. I don't track the cream in my coffee, although I probably should because I drink a decent amount of coffee. It's probably like 100 calories total, but I don't track that either. Just letting you under the hood here. Full transparency. But I do track the meaningful things that I put in my mouth. Why do I do it? I've talked about it before. It provides an unbelievable amount of education, awareness, and accountability for me. And I now have too much evidence to support that it works. I'm 48 years old. I have visible abs. I look fucking fantastic. Excuse my French. When people see me, they wonder what the hell I do. And I don't say all this to toot my own horn and pat myself on the back, although toot, toot, and there we go. I say it because I have a body of evidence to suggest that if I did it any differently, it would be stupid. It would really be stupid at this point. Like, I do something that takes 30 seconds of my time when I eat. Therefore, I get an unbelievable result. Now, make no mistake, I still have to eat the things that help me create the result, but it's a big part of it. And I now have too much evidence to support. If I told you to stop going to work for a month, it would be no big deal. You would figure it out. You'd be like, dude, what are you, nuts? I get fired. I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. Like, I've been showing up every day. Like, I can't not show up. And that's how I feel about tracking food at this point. I can't not do it. Cannot do it. If I didn't do it for a day or two, would it matter? Nah, ultimately no. To me it would, but ultimately no. I can't not do it. All right. So I track the food that I put in my body. I follow a prescribed plan developed by an expert. If you're not on video right now, I got 2 thumbs and I'm pointing them at me because that's what we help clients do. We prescribe a customized plan for them based on their needs, not a cookie cutter generic plan where everybody eats the same fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. I've actually gotten clients to come inside my program who have been part of programs like that. That is insane to me. First of all, there's no need to eat the same exact thing every single day for 7 straight days, 14, 21, 28 straight days. But Jesus Christ, you are a different human being than someone else. And why would I have you eat the same things? Do they look a lot alike? Yeah, they do. They do. That's the point. But is it customized for you? Of course it is. Do I tell you exactly what to eat? Usually not. But I give you principles. And so most days per week, I am eating high protein, high fiber, relatively low calorie foods. What do those foods look like? Well, every single day, I eat some form of eggs, egg whites, like a scramble. Think of like a Western omelet kind of scramble. A couple eggs, bunch of egg whites, maybe some deli turkey or ham. It's a great way to boost your protein content numbers in your eggs, because eggs are great. They're very healthy, but eggs themselves can have extra calories from healthy fats, but fat, and not enough proteins. That's why we add the egg whites. But egg whites are boring AF, as they say. So I add some deli ham. I add some low-fat mozzarella cheese, shredded cheese. It doesn't have to be mozzarella. It just happens to be what Trader Joe's, the grocery store that I do a lot of my shopping at, has in shredded form. So I use that. I put a big handful of spinach, peppers, and onions. I don't know. I enjoy a piece of toast depending on where I'm at in my program. Muscle building, maintenance, fat loss might depend on what it is I consume with the eggs. It could be one piece of Ezekiel toast for 80 calories. It could be 2 pieces of sourdough toast for that would be 240 calories total, 120 each. Maybe it's one piece of sourdough. Maybe it's a bagel for 250 to 275 calories. Maybe I'm in a muscle building phase and I throw some butter or peanut butter on there. Maybe I put some avocado on the toast. It depends. But almost every day, if not every day, I have a couple eggs, a bunch of egg whites, added lean protein sources with some fiber volume, i.e. some vegetables. All right. Also every day I have Greek yogurt. I'm a big fan of low calorie Greek yogurt. Now, you may enjoy full fat Greek yogurt and full fat dairy, and that's cool, but I'm pretty sure you won't taste the difference. And although you may be telling me that full fat is healthier because you heard that online and that fat is not the devil and sugar is the problem, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, total calories is the problem. And so one way to strip out calories out of your diet is to strip out dietary fat. Now, make no mistake, that comes at a cost. If I consume less dietary fat, I'm probably getting less omega-3 fatty acids from things like salmon or egg yolks, or I'm getting less antioxidants from things like olive oil, polyphenols from olive oil, or fiber from avocado, right? I'm either eliminating or reducing some of these types of foods. That doesn't mean that I don't consume them at all. It just means I watch the total consumption of those, because fat calories add up fast in our diet. It's probably the one mistake that I see people making who are not just like YOLOing it out there, like not just like eating like complete shit. They think they're doing a good job, but the fat content in their protein and their added fats are way too high. I regularly see people consuming a half of an avocado with 2 eggs, bacon, and butter on toast. Like, that's not the worst meal that you could construct. Certainly not like a fast food breakfast sandwich, or it's not a bagel with a shit ton of cream cheese that has very little protein, right? And additional calories, but it's not optimized. And so a lot of times people make mistakes by they eat, ground beef, but they eat 80-20 ground beef. When if you leaned it all the way up to, let's just say 96.4, which would probably be a bit of an extreme for some, but not me, I'm used to it. You're saving hundreds of calories, thousands over the course of weeks. And that's another thing that I eat a lot of. I eat either or lean ground beef or grilled chicken. Okay. Those two are my go-to protein sources for things like lunch and dinner. I work from a home office, so I'm able to meal prep and cook throughout the day. But if I worked in an office, I would go find fast casual restaurants that had ground beef or grilled chicken. That's what I would do. Like I do when I go to Chipotle, which is not something that I eat every day, but it's something that I eat a couple of times a week. I would go find a chicken, rice, vegetable type of bowl, okay? Or a big ass salad with a bunch of lean protein on it. Would I do ground beef? No, of course not. I would probably do grilled chicken. Okay. Now, if you have some calories to spare, this is where you can start to go to something like chicken thighs, which I'll do a few days per week. More on that in a moment. Right? What else do I eat on a daily basis? I eat lots and 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 lots of fruits and vegetables. Probably much more heavily emphasized on the lots of fruit versus vegetables. Why? Because I prefer them. And I'd rather get my vitamins and minerals and nutrients in and fiber in from something that I prefer if I'm going to eat a lot of it. Because if you told me that it was mandatory that I ate 10 different vegetables a day, that's kind of a lot. 6 different vegetables a day to get the nutrients I need, I would struggle. I do like it, but like a lot of them you got to prepare, and sometimes I just don't want that. And also, sometimes certain vegetables don't sit well with me and my stomach and my digestive health. And it's very important that you find what works for you. But what does work great for me is fruit. I love it. I love almost all kinds. I enjoy it in different varieties. I mentioned I eat low-calorie Greek yogurt. I get fat-free Greek yogurt. I do buy flavored Greek yogurt because I enjoy having some flavor in it, and having some natural flavored Greek yogurt with a couple of additional extra grams of carbohydrates from sugar is not going to kill you. I promise you. All right. I enjoy adding some fruit to my Greek yogurt. I enjoy having snacks of apples and bananas. I enjoy eating frozen cherries at night after dinner when I let them thaw. There's lots of ways I get my fruit in. I try to buy what's in season. I try to buy things that the kids enjoy. We enjoy it all, so I eat a lot of it. Some of the vegetables that I do enjoy are like baby carrots as a snack, very crunchy. Peppers and onions are the one vegetables that I do prep on a weekly basis because they are low in calorie, they are high in flavor. So as part of our meal prep matrix, which you can get by clicking in the link in the show notes of the podcast, we'll put a link to the meal prep matrix in there where you can take 3 or 4 items of food, meaning prepped items. So ground beef. I don't prep my grilled chicken. I just buy it prepped. Peppers and onions and maybe rice. 3 things: ground beef, peppers and onions, rice. You spend 30 minutes. Okay. You buy a few other things that complement it, like prep grilled chicken, like Mission carb balance tortilla wraps, the high fiber, low calorie ones, like a few other things. And then you add what we call flavor trades, low calorie or no calorie flavor. You can take those 3 items along with a few other items that you buy that are completely prepped, and you can make 25 different meals. And that's how our clients stay on track easily throughout the week, by eating things consistently but have some variety. And so that's the magic formula, guys, if you haven't started to put together what I'm talking about. I mentioned the egg scramble. Some days I have it with peppers and onions. Some days I have it with spinach. Some days I put ketchup on it. Other days I put hot sauce on it. Some days there's a bagel. Some days there's Ezekiel toast. Some days I put avocado on sourdough toast. All of these little additions and substitutions just go with the main base of eggs, egg whites, low-fat cheese, and deli turkey or ham. Those are usually the constants. I eat a lot of ground beef and rice. A lot. I don't just eat ground beef and rice. Some days I put tomato sauce in it. Other days I take the peppers and onions that I prepped and I put it in it. Other days I squeeze lemon, balsamic vinegar, and put a bunch of salt. Always a bunch of salt. Some days I do 0% unflavored Greek yogurt, which is a sneaky and phenomenal sour cream sub, by the way, and take some of my favorite hot sauce. That's more of a taco bowl type of flavor, right? These are 3, 4, 5 distinct flavors with the same base. That's how you eat the same things over and over again. Nobody is asking you to eat the same meal for 5 straight days. I think people who meal prep the same lunch for the entire week are insane. Now, if it works for you, you go, girl. You keep doing it. But I think you're nuts. I think that's boring as hell. I want a little bit of variety. Is there a lot of variety? No, of course there's not a lot of variety. That's why I get great results. That's why I can see my abs. So you have to find this balance. And so I eat a lot of carrots as snacks. because they're high in fiber. They're crunchy. They're a little sweet. Not that sweet. They're a little sweet. They take you time to eat. I can't just rifle a handful of cashews or trail mix in my mouth. That's, by the way, 400 calories. You have no idea how many calories you're blowing by eating a lot of these higher fat snacks. Granola, throw it away. Trail mix, throw it away. Peanut butter, temporarily divorce it. Tell it it's you, not them. You'll be back after your fat loss phase is over, after you can see your abs. But right now, you're accumulating additional calories into your diet that you could easily swap out. I have a relatively new client whose wife has been amazing with helping him along the way. And so she started to make a shake for him in the morning. And the first version of the shake, the first iteration was whole milk, right? 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, some protein and some fruit. I showed her a couple simple ways to just either go to water or 40 calorie almond milk, right? Or skim milk if she really wanted milk and at least you get a little bit of protein. We swapped the peanut butter, like almost 400 calories, probably not that much, 300 or so calories of peanut butter for 60 calories of PB Fit or peanut butter powder. And we just took an 800 calorie shake and turned it into a 400 calorie shake. We kept the 60 something grams of protein that were in there. She was making him dinner. It was like a full avocado or half an avocado, ground beef or like a beef patty that was higher fat with full fat cheese with like lettuce and tomato and a few scrambled eggs. She showed me this picture. It looked awesome. But like there was a lot of low hanging fruit there. We could have done eggs and egg whites. We could have done much less avocado. You don't need a half of an avocado at a time, let alone a whole one. We could have done a 93.7 ground beef patty or 96.4 if you're willing to do it. When you mix rice and the flavors and peppers and onions and the hot sauce and the Greek yogurt, close your eyes. You can't tell the difference between 96.4 and 90.10, maybe 80.20. But there's so much additional calories in that you're just wasting. You're leaving money on the table there. All right. I eat on a daily basis. I eat, maybe not daily, but a lot of days, I eat like these carb balance wraps, Mission Tortilla carb balance wraps. All right. 70 calories, 15 grams of fiber. And more importantly, I can add 6 ounces of ground beef in 2 of them. So 3 each, 6.5, maybe 3 and change. I can put some peppers and onions in there. I can put some Greek yogurt, hot sauce, and I can have what feels like a normal human being lunch with like a taco wrap. It makes me feel human. I put the grilled chicken that I buy prepped from Costco already. I take a little bit of tomato sauce, marinara, and I put that low-fat shredded mozzarella cheese. I toast the carb balance wraps, and I have 2 grilled chicken parm wraps. They taste awesome. They're 70 grams of protein, under 600 calories. And again, I get 30 grams of fiber with the 2 wraps. It's like most people's fiber intake for the day. Should you get your fiber from fruits and vegetables and potatoes and avocados and chia seeds and grains? Like, yeah, but does it help to have a carb balance wrap for 15 grams of fiber? You know, most days a week, sure. If it works for you, it's better than, 220 calorie slices of bread. That's 240 calories versus 70. We just swapped 150 to 70 calories right there, depending on what you're consuming. So it's thinking about how to swap, how to strip some of these unnecessary calories out. Right? You don't need 4 eggs. You could have 1 or 2 eggs and a bunch of egg whites. You don't need full fat cheese. You could do low fat cheese and not know the difference, especially when it's mixed, combined. I enjoy some things on a daily basis that you might be like, wow, you eat that? You consume that? Coke Zero, Rice Krispie Treat, dark chocolate, Yasso Greek yogurt bar. Every single day, all of them? Not always. But a lot of days, most or all, yeah. Because like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about, 60-ish calories of dark chocolate. We're talking 90 calories in a Rice Krispie Treat. We're talking 0 calories in a Coke Zero. Right? Ready Whip that I put on the dark chocolate and eat it, or on my frozen cherries. That's like 20 calories. So we're getting these low calorie, but non-healthy, I guess, in air quotes, items that make me feel normal. If I have a couple squares of dark chocolate, A Yasso Greek yogurt bar for 140 calories. The dark chocolate 60, that's 200. The Coke Zero is 0, so that's still 200. The Rice Krispie treat is 90, that's 290 calories with some Ready Whip maybe on the dark chocolate. That's like 20. We're talking 310-ish calories per day out of almost 4,000 that I consume. That makes me feel like a human being. Ladies and gentlemen, you just saw how someone like me operates 90-10 throughout the day with the eggs, the egg white scramble, the beef and rice, the Greek yogurt bowl with the fruit, the grilled chicken with, potatoes or whatever it may be, the flavor trades on top of the meal prep matrix. That's my 90%. And quite frankly, everyone, I love that stuff. And that's the magic formula that I've put together for me that I've then tweaked slightly and applied with clients. You operating pretty good, because you're definitely not as good as you think. I hear I'm eating pretty good a lot from people. That usually means that they're not eating as good as they think, because they're making some of these mistakes, like that cutting board of avocado, scrambled eggs, a burger with no bun that I just mentioned, or the high calorie shake. If you get a shake from your gym, they are dumping peanut butter in there. They are probably not using low calorie or as low of calorie liquid as possible. These are two very common things. You can't taste the freaking difference. And if you can, is it really worth it to cut 400 calories out of a shake to not taste like, maybe have it taste a little bit watery or a little bit less like peanut butter? Come on now. Come on. So those are the types of things I eat every single day. What do I eat a few days a week? I go from grilled chicken to things like chicken thighs, from very, very lean ground beef to maybe, a steak that's not as lean, a New York or a strip steak or something like that. I rarely eat ribeyes. It's not worth the calories to me personally. What else do I have a few days a week? I have protein powder a few days a week. I usually don't consume it every day because I get most of my protein from Whole Foods. That's just what works for me. I have clients that drink ready to go protein shakes, use protein powder, and eat bars, which is another thing I consume a couple of days a week on a daily basis, because they need the convenience. And if you do too, and it sits well with you, no problem. Some other things I consume a few days a week: dried mango. It's another sort of lower calorie, although that can get away from you quickly, sweet treat idea. A little bit of dark chocolate and dried mango. Potatoes, I eat a couple days a week, a few days a week. I eat them almost every day, except I got to prepare them every time. And so I just usually eat rice, because rice is easier to make once and reheat it. Frozen cherries, I mentioned that. Chipotle, I mentioned that. What's my Chipotle order? Double chicken, white rice, black beans, mild salsa. Done. Sometimes if I have room for the calories, I'll put guac on it. I usually avoid the cheese and the sour cream because they're full fat and it's not worth it for me. I consume honey a few days a week, usually on my Greek yogurt. Sometimes on like a banana pre-workout. Avocado, I mentioned. I put it on the toast with my eggs. Sometimes I have it with a bowl. I make overnight oats. I eat that a few times a week. Or sometimes I just do like Quaker instant oatmeal, another good source of fiber for you, especially if you're on a desk or working, at the office and need something. Parmesan cheese, rice cakes, Skinny Pop popcorn. These are all things that I consume that are on the health spectrum pretty good. I don't eat them every day, but they're part of my rotation. All right. Now let's get to what do I do 1 to 2 days per week. We order out, but we order reasonably healthy. Dinner is like the one meal that kind of flexes for us a bit, but we try to keep in bounds, on the rails. And so for us, we order like rotisserie chicken once a week usually. We have a place we call Chicken Maison for my East Coast, towns. Usually there's a Greek restaurant in a lot of New Jersey towns. And so think about like the rotisserie chicken and the kebabs and stuff that you would get from a place like that. We order a place that we usually get Mexican, not once a week, but a lot of times once a week. Think fajitas, steak fajitas, chicken fajitas, peppers and onions, rice and beans, load it up. All right. Are there extra calories there from the ones that I would make at home? Of course there are. Do I always want to make them? No, I don't. All right. That's why, and I would add Chipotle into that. If it's 1 to 2 days per week, because that's what we would order. Ordering out for us is probably like definitely 1 to 2. Maybe if you include like we just grabbed Chipotle and brought it home, or I just had it on the way home from a busy, day with sports or something after work. It's probably more like 2 to 3 days per week. All right. one day a week. What do I do one day a week? I drink alcohol one day a week. Now, are there weeks when I drink alcohol more than one day? Yes, of course there are. But in general, I probably drink 1 day's worth of alcohol per week, because maybe it's one day I just have a drink, and other days on date night I have 2 to 3 or something like that. All right. Alcohol and date night for me, restaurants, those usually go hand in hand. Okay. Take my wife out, nice dinner, have some alcohol, have a date, have some food that's a little bit higher calorie. So alcohol, date nights, restaurants, and or like a legit dessert, not like a Greek yogurt bar, frozen Greek yogurt bar, which are really good, by the way. Frozen cherries, a legit dessert. I might split a dessert with my wife. That's 1 day a week. And then 1 day a month, if that, is like off the rails, food and booze, or both. Experiential meals, a golf trip. I threw sushi in there too, because like we order sushi probably once or twice a month. I would do it more, except I have a 16-year-old son who just hoovers it, and I just can't spend $200 each time and watch him literally not even chew it, just inhale it. And so my cheap ass doesn't get sushi as much as we may normally get it. And that's what I do. This is what I do. So the foundation of my nutrition is managing calories. And if you want to look better than you currently do right now, that has to be what you do. I don't care if you do it via tracking, which you should. I don't care if you do it inside of a structured program, which would help. Okay. I don't care if, you do it your own way. You have to manage calories. All diets work. They work because ultimately they manipulate, I don't want to say restrict, but they manipulate calories to put you in a deficit in order to get you the results that you want. You must consume less calories. Now, there are ways to do it, like I do it, where I feel like it's the most optimized way, where you don't feel like you're dieting because you're eating a lot of these high volume foods, these trades that we put on, the language that I speak to the clients that may or may not be just like you. These are value trades that we put on. Egg whites, high value. Peppers and onions, right? Baby carrots, you can eat a shit ton of them. It's like 25 calories. Strawberries, you can eat 50 strawberries for like 40 calories. At some point, you're going to be like, dude, I'm done with the strawberries. Try, eating like 50 calories of mixed nuts on the desk in the middle of the day. It's like your pinky. It's gone. Snort that. On to the next. So we want to put on these value trades where we're consuming large quantities, volumes of food to fill up our stomach, because our stomach has receptors that stretch and tell the mind we're full. So I can consume a couple tablespoons of olive oil, rack up 600 calories. To be fair, that would probably be 4 tablespoons, not a couple. And not feel full because it takes up very little space. It's also liquid, takes up very little space in my stomach. Or I could eat a potato that is 200 calories, has a bunch of fiber in it, a little bit of protein, and it takes up a pretty large space in my stomach. Now, that's a strange analogy and strange comparison, but I wanted to give you a visual of something very calorically dense, as we say, versus something that is going to be a bit more voluminous, right? I've even done this with like the protein bars that I enjoy tend to be more candy bar-ish. And even though they are a great source of protein and not too high in calories, I eat them so fast. Some of them literally taste like candy bars, as opposed to a charcuterie board of carrots and peppers and onions and strawberries and a little deli turkey with low-fat cheese. And that takes me 15 minutes to eat, and it's 200 calories. One's not right, not wrong. And I'm not suggesting that you take your pepper and onion out at work and you start slicing it up, but you could prepare for that and bring it into work if you wanted to. So you got to think about these volume trades sometimes. And that's what I eat. And there's a bonus on the document that I will share with you if you reach out to us and ask us. The document is called What Brian Eats. It's very simple. And there's a video attached to it as well that gives you context and nuance and explains. And it'll be a great additional explanation to this podcast. So if you would like it, reach out to us at brian@thesuccesslift.com. Put in the title, podcast, What Brian Eats, and let me know that you'd love it. Let me know you listen to it. Let me know what you think of this episode. And if you know somebody else who could use some help with their nutrition because they're trying, but they don't look like it. And what's worse than actually trying and not actually looking like it? I'm not sure. You might as well just not try. I appreciate you guys. Welcome to the summer. I hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have some specific summer action steps for you next week. We'll also talk about a little summer break that we're going to take. See you back here next week. Appreciate you guys.